Oh, man. That is a 3-contactor switch that I got with the mill. And I can't use it. It's cool. I'm just going to keep it on the wall just to scare Eddie when I turn it on and off. Hold on. Watch your ears. So this has... so usually what would happen is 3 phases of power would come in here, and you would have 1, 2, 3 phases going, and a ground. This is a ground. I think it touches the box. Oh, no, this is isolated. So this is what I tells it to do. So here, you can terminate it a whole bunch of different ways. Cap number 1 up here must be the same polarity. Oh, yeah, maybe I can use this. Anyway, got to read the manual. So I have not put that in, but I did put in A and a B, and they are hot. And this tail comes out of here, goes around a console, through the mill, and over to this box here, which has my crazy VFD and my Panto mill is now on a switch here. Gotta get a cover for that. This VFD has some battle wounds. I may have to prop it up with some brackets. Anyway, so I've wired it with single phase 240 going in. So it is 200 to 240 VAC. I'm feeding it 247, but I've matched you. There will be a voltage drop once this thing turns on. And what it is doing is generating 3-phase power for this teeny tiny motor up there. And it has this. I was wrong. It is a Cutler Hamer motor control switch. So I have forward, reverse, and what it's doing in that switch is flipping 2 of the wires. So on a 3-phase motor, if you flip 2 of the wires, it will spin the other direction. There's something else you do, like if you short 2 of them, it'll break. And there's something else. You can do a whole bunch of tricks with them. But this thing handles, this is the best trick. So here I have stop, which can be an emergency stop. I can program this to be an emergency stop, or I can program this to be a whole bunch of things. So this is where software meets rubber. So, and then meets the road. So what I want to do with this is generate 3-phase power. And I want to generate it at various frequencies. So I have my 3 phases and I want to spin them. I want to generate that, what do they call it? Rotating magnetic field. So they want to generate that rotating magnetic field inside these 3 coils. So it generates a rotating magnetic field with 3 phases going, and the 3 phases are 120 degrees out of phase, like my fingers. And what it's doing, like 3 pistons, it's moving 3 coils, and the rubber is meeting the road. And with this, I can generate those for slower, based on program. So I want to measure with this fluke the current draw of the rubber meeting the road, and I can do some measurements here. So I'm going to, I've got a current clamped on. So here I have this adapter. I'm working on this. Sorry, please, electrical warning, do not do this at home. Do not. So this is 120 between these two. Oh, sorry, 120 120. A phase, B phase, 247 comes to these two wires, and they're all plugged in. Molded plastic. Let me remind all the safety folk. Yeah, I don't have faceplates. Okay, sure. Okay, you got me there. But molded plastic into this jobberoo. So these wires are rated at 300 volts. So I am putting 247 down them, and I am focus. So it is also rated at 60 degrees. So I can measure that later. So it is 18 gauge wire, 300 volts. It's the volts. Go in through this, into this. I have this looped around here for itself, for its safety. So should this ever get tripped over, it's not going to pull the wires out. It's going to throw this loop of slack first. Hopefully, that would be hopefully, but if these would disconnect first, so if this was a safety thing, this would be all right. And then I have here 3 pins. I have a ground, 1 ground of these 2. If I had 2, I would be creating a loop. And in no place in your electrical system can you create a loop. So you should never ever take 2 grounds of 2 different phases and put them together. You shouldn't do that. The grounds between the 2 phases should only touch in one single point. And at one single point in the house, that's how you should keep it just electrically safe. I don't want to create a little loop here because between here and here, I don't know how many feet it is between here to there to my electrical panel. I actually don't know how many feet it is. So it could be 300 feet this way, and it could be 20 this way. And I don't know. So this is why I'm only taking 1 ground from these 2. I plug it in here, and I'm just going to do this with 2 hands safely. As the connector is designed to do, there will be a small little draw of current. Oh, but you know what? I should have done it while I was recording here. Jeez Louise. I want to record volts, amps, and hertz. Let's just set up our tool. Make sure we're getting a reading here. Okay, so hey, look at this. What am I doing here? I'm drawing a bit of current. Do I have other places to probe? Yeah, I do and I don't, but let's be safe here. Let's do a current reading. So I don't have a voltage, I just have a current reading. So here I have my speed, and I'm going to put it to speed. It says at speed, and I'm going to stop. Okay, so I'm going to do another pre-flight check. Okay, pre-flight check. Engage the forward. So it is stopped. Okay, here we go. At speed. Okay, so that means at speed, when the thing fires up with nothing else. So when it resorts to its last program speed, like for safety. So it's not gonna, like when you plug that thing back in, it's gonna resort to 0. So this is a safety feature. So it starts off at 0 all the time when it first gets power. So I'm gonna So it's got the right speed that the VFD is seeing, right? So the VFD is seeing 60 hertz. Because my cable clamp is here. So it is seeing 2 amps. So let's bring it to speed. And I've got no load on the motor, right? So it's not cutting anything. So there's gonna be no current draw. I wonder how loud this is. I gotta get a decibel meter. Oh, here it goes. My wife will tell me how loud it is. So this is only 60 hertz. So when you fire this thing up brand new, it defaults to 60 hertz. I gotta get a tachometer. 2.4. Oh yeah, she's got some weight to it. I'm excited to put a load on that. So it draws, let's call it 3 amps. So like you put some on it, and it will make some chips at 3 amps. So that is super duper awesome. So 3 amps at 247. So 250. Here, you guys do the math. It's PEI. Power. This is the homework for the kids. PEI. So Prince Edward Island. That's what you got to remember. So power. PEI. So E is voltage. So I have 247. So down in the comments. 247 times. Earlier in the video there was a number. 2 point whatever. The more decimal points you get wins. But if that's how much power it would be drawing. So here, I will, when I get to it. But this now, I think as a homeowner, I believe that meets all the codes. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is my temporary setup until I get my questions answered. Have fun. I hope you're having fun with your COVID projects. But this thing is, I'm gonna make some chips. I got a couple end mills. I got these on eBay, and then we'll see where it ends up. But the next thing is, so I have a disconnect here. Bonus feature. I have a chunk of wire. Okay, so this chunk of wire, I think, saved me a whole boatload of money. So when they sold this machine, they told me it was a 600 volt machine. So this is a 600 volt machine. But this motor, wherever the cap is, I lost the cap. Nope. I did not lose the cap. They told me it was a 600 volt machine. But no, it can be wound 2 ways, 220 or 440. Lucky me, it is 220. This is 220 as well. So I have this motor down here. Oh, come on, get in there. 220, 3-phase, 60 cycles. So it is 2.4 amps. My next thing, I don't want to take apart the... I may make an adapter so I can do the current clamp for the 3 phases. But I have, it is a quarter horse. And then that drives this. So I have these knobs and these levers. But what they ended up doing was they drove these little mechanisms under here. And they switched switch this. Oh, they switched those. And this is doing exactly what that is doing, but that does it better. So that VFD does it better. And then this was, actually this was the phase flipper, but this was, it has 2 legs coming off of it. So it has 2 different windings, or it has access to all the windings here, and you select windings. Anyway, another time, another project, another rabbit